So we're live right now from my studio off of Broadway in Sacramento, California. So in just a bit, I'm going to create for you. But first, I want to give a big thank you to Quarter at Aggie Square and the team behind it. So Angela Taylor, Professor Tori Wynn, Cynthia Carter Ching, Sharon Knox, my good friend Stephen Morse, and of course, Chancellor Gary May. Thank you to you and your extended team for remaining committed to our community. So before I get into the painting, hopefully you're ready for that. Those of you not familiar with what I do, I create large portraits in minutes to music. But before I was performing at the White House for Obama, or a finalist on America's Got Talent, or doing music videos from everyone from Juice World to French Montana, my journey actually began in South Sacramento. So I was always passionate about creating, and unfortunately at the time it was graffiti was the tool of choice. Even though I was passionate about creating, I didn't have any direction at that time or other options. And so it wasn't until I met Sean Sullivan, who is a animation teacher at Sheldon High School. And he presented this opportunity to me, and he said, David, do you want to pay to create, or do you want to get paid? And I didn't really know what he meant by get paid, because I didn't know that people could make money from uh, actually making art. But he presented to me that in arts, media, entertainment, there's animation, there's writing, there's directing, all these other jobs. And so I threw myself fully into this class scenario now, this opportunity to create. And as time went on, I started getting into animation, started learning the art of storytelling, and I was winning these awards for it. Eventually, when it got to the end of my high school time, the time before I met him, that I wasn't showing up and didn't care about school, caught up to me, and I wasn't able to graduate on time. So after high school, again, I had this passion to create, but I had to really start over. And I was 18 years old, feeling lost, but also knowing that all I had was this creativity. So I was living in downtown Sacramento. And eventually, when I was thrown out of the apartment I was living in, my car was taken back, repossessed, and so many other things were happening. These other negative opportunities were happening. I just thought, what's the one thing that I can put to work right now that no one can take or has control of? And that was the creativity. That was the one thing that was living inside of me that I could use. So I started painting live in local jazz clubs and nightclubs in downtown Sacramento. As time went on, as I was doing these live paintings, I also started teaching myself the art of performing these paintings as well. And that's when things started to transform in my life. Eventually, I started traveling and performing around the world, getting up to about 100 plus shows a year on average. And there was a time, though, that presented this opportunity to me, where I realized that these paintings were being auctioned off for tens of thousands of dollars. And to me, that was just crazy, because I was just this kid from South Sacramento. It was unreal to me that I could use this creativity now to help people. And so I didn't want to just leave it at that. I knew that these paintings were creating value for other people. So I set a crazy goal when I was 25 years old. I just told myself, I was like, I want to raise $1 million. I want to raise $1 million by the time I turn 30. I want to put this bigger intent behind what I do, and I want to help people along the way on this journey. So that now became a filter for all my decisions, this bigger purpose of what I want to live for. And also seeing this opportunity of creating these paintings and then being auctioned off for charity that could help people. So fast forward, eventually we met that $1 million goal, and we raised, and now have since raised over $6 million for various charities, and that this journey continues. But when I backtrack to meeting Sullivan and him presenting something to me, or even my losing my job and my apartment, all these things that were presented to me, believe it or not, I actually looked at and still look at all those scenarios as opportunity. I said I wanted to paint for you, so hopefully it's okay that I get into a painting right now. We're gonna move over to the paint area, but I just want you to keep this in mind about viewing the world with opportunity, because this next person that I'm going to create for you is someone who, saw the world full of opportunity. So we're gonna head over there and let's get into the painting. As this painting comes to life, keep in mind, just no matter where you come from, where you are now, to look at everything as an opportunity to do something, and that something hopefully is transformative to not only your life but other lives on your journey. So I know we're all virtual right now, but you can make some noise wherever you are. Are you ready? Let's go. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes funk. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest funk. My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put a baby in a spiral. Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note. It's levels to it, you and I know. Tell them be humble. Sit down. 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 Who that thinking that he frontin' on that man? Get the off my stage, I'm the same man. Get the off my, that ain't right. I make a play blowing up your whole life. I'm so sick and tired of the Photoshop. Show me something natural like Afro with your pride. Show me something natural, I wanna feel some stretch marks. Still it take you down right on your mama couch in polo socks. Hey, this is way too crazy. Hey, you do not amaze me. Hey, I blew cool from ACA. Obama just page me. Hey, I don't fabricate it. Hey, most of y'all be faking. Hey, I stay modest about it. Hey, she elaborated. Hey, this that great poop on that AV on that TED talk. Hey, watch my soul speak. You let the meds talk. Hey, if I kill it, it won't be the alcohol. Hey, I'm the realest, after all. Tell them be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Tell them sit down. Be humble. 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 Sit down. I got a bone to pick. I don't want you monkey mouth sitting in my throne again. I'm mad, but I ain't stressing. True friends, one question. Where you and I was walking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta, everybody wanna cut the legs off him. Kunta, black man taking no losses. Oh yeah. Where you and I was walking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta, everybody wanna cut the legs off him. When you got the yams. What's the yams? The yam is the power that be. You can smell it when I'm walking down the street. Oh yes we can, oh yes we can. I can dig rapping, but a rapper with a ghost rider. What the f happened? Oh no, I swore I wouldn't tell. But most of y'all sharing bars like you got the bottom bunk in a two-man sale. A two-man sale. Something's in the water. Something's in the water. And if I got a brown nose for some gold, then I'd rather be a bum than a mother. Oh yeah. Where you and I was walking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta, everybody wanna cut the legs off him. King Kunta, black man taking no losses. Oh yeah. Where you and I was walking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta, everybody wanna cut the legs off him. When you got the yams. What's the yams? The yam brought it out of Richard Pryor. Manipulated Bill Clinton with desires. 24/7, 365 days times 2. I was contemplating getting on stage just to go back to the hood, see my enemy and say, oh yeah. Where you and
mouth, mammoth.
I was gonna kill a couple rappers, but they did it themselves. Everybody's suicidal, they didn't even need my help. This shit is elementary, I'd probably go to jail if I shoot at your identity and bounce to the left. Stuck a flag in my city, everybody screaming Compton. I should probably run from here when I'm done, to be honest. And I put that on my mama and my baby boo too. 20 million walking out the court, better whoa whoa. Oh yeah, the judge, I made it past 25, and there I was, a little nappy-headed nigga with the world behind him. Life face, but a fat screaming, Annie, are you okay? Annie, are you okay? Limo tinted with the gold plate, straight from the bottom. It's the belly of the beast, from a peasant to a prince to a king. Oh yeah, where you and I was born.
By the time you hear the next pop.
If Pyrus and Crips all got along, they probably gun me down by the end of the song. Seem like the whole city go against me every time I'm in the street.
Hopefully you're all enjoying this right now.
Man down, where you from? Who you know, where you from? Where your grandma stay, mine? This mad city I run.
Brace yourself, I take you on a trip down memory lane. This is not a rap on how I'm slinking. Go move. This is cul-de-sac and plenty cognac and major pain. Not the drill sergeant, but the stress that weighing on your brain. It was me, El Boogie, Yang Yang, YG Lucky. Ride down Rosecrans, it got ugly. Waving your hand out the window, check yourself. Warriors and Conans, hope euphoria can slow dance with society. The driver seat, the first one to get killed. Seen a light skin with his brains blown out. At the same burger stand with same gout. Now this is not a tape recorder saying that he did it, but ever since that day, I was looking at him different. That was back when I was 9. Joey packed a 9. Pack a stand on every porch is fine. We adapt to crime. Pack a van with 4 guns at a time. With the sliding door, it's up. You shooting for if you ain't walking up. Punk, picking up the pump. Picking off you sucker. Could die a sucker punch. A wall of bullets coming from AKs, ARs, AR, duck. That's what mama said when we was eating that free lunch. Oh man. Damn, all hell broke loose. You killed my cousin back in 94. Yo, truce. Now crawl your head in that noose. You wind up dead on the news. Ain't no peace treaty, just peace and BG's up to pre-approved. Bodies on top of bodies, IVs on top of IVs. Obviously the coroner between the sheets like the Osleys. When you hop on that trolley, make sure your color's correct. Make sure you're corporate or they'll be calling your mother Colette. They say the governor collect all of our taxes except when we in traffic and tragic happens. That ain't no threat. You moving backwards if you suggest that you sleep with a tech. Go buy your chopper and have a doctor on speed dial, I guess. Matt City.
Man down, where you from? Who you know, where you from? Where your grandma stay, mine? This mad city I run.
If Pyrus and Crips all got along, they probably gun me down by the end of the song. Seem like the whole city go against me every time I'm in the street. I hear yak, yak, yak.
Where's the power? Down to our knees. Pray to the God. We don't believe.
Hypocrite in 2015. Once I finish this, witnesses will convey just what I mean. Been feeling this way since I was 16. Came to my senses. You never liked this anyway. Your friendship, I meant it. I'm African American. I'm African. I'm black as the moon. Heritage of a small village. Part of my residence. Came from the bottom of mankind. My hair is nappy. My is big. My nose is round and wide. You hate me, don't you? You hate my people. Your plan is to terminate my culture. You're fucking evil. I want you to recognize that I'm a proud monkey. You vandalize my perception, but can't take down from it. And this is more than confession. I mean, I might press the button just so you know my discretion. I'm caught in my feelings. I know that you feel it. You sabotage my community, making a killing. You made me a killer. Emancipation of a real. The back of the barrel, the sweeter the juice. The back of the barrel. 2015. Once I finish this, witnesses will convey just what I mean. I mean, it's evident that I'm irrelevant to society. That's what you're telling me. Penitentiary would only hire me. Curse me till I'm dead. Church me with your fake prophesizing that I'ma be just another slave in my head. Institutional lies, manipulation and lies. Reciprocation of freedom only live in your eyes. You hate me, don't you? I know you hate me just as much as you hate yourself. Jealous of my wisdom and cards I dealt. Watching me as I pull up, fill up my tank, then pill out. Muscle cars like pull-ups, show you what 15 mil bout. Black and successful, this black man meant to be special. Cat scans on my radar, how can I help you? How can I tell you I'm making a killing? You made me a killer, emancipation of a real nigga.
The black of the belly, the sweet addictions. The black of the belly, the sweet addictions. The black of the belly, the sweet addictions. The black of the belly, the big ass. I saw them treat me like a slave, can be black. Oh, if you feel one heap of pain, can be black. I man, I said them put me in a chain, can be black. I'm at you now, me gold chain full of rocks. And you know see the whip, left scar, can be back. But now we have a big whip back.
All right, thank you all so much for watching and staying here for this portrait. Take one last look at this Kendrick Lamar image. We're gonna go chat for a little bit more and just explain the importance of opportunity and how we all can learn to see it differently.
And cynicism is grimy, little justification. I'm African American. I'm African. I'm black as the heart of a Aryan. I'm black as the name of Tyrone and Darius. Excuse my French, but you know y'all. That's as blunt as it gets. I know you hate me, don't you? You hate my people. I can tell.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed that.
Thank you again, David. This was wonderful. I think that we have plenty of time. We have actually about 30 minutes left for question and answers for everyone to join in. Emails.
I have a question. So I'm a principal in Sac City Unified School District, Oak Ridge Elementary School. In our district, there's a budget crisis. So usually sometimes that's one of the first things that may fall off the chopping block is arts programs, or it's limited funding, or how can we squeeze? So what would you recommend to like a school administrator like me that knows the importance of exposing art and having art in our students' lives? So that way then I can connect, network, or hustle, or whatever it is to kind of like figure out how to expose and keep this going at our school.
Well, let me first just thank you for just everything you do. We know you're literally on the front lines of education, and so thank you for your hard work and your staff as well, and for helping arrange this. And I think that I would start by this. You know, we ended up here, and I'm talking to you right now because of relationships that you have built with someone, and those people have built with someone that knows me. And, you know, we're literally separated by, you know, maybe 2 or 3 people. And that's the case with a lot of other people and organizations like myself who want you to get the money that you need, because I wouldn't be who I am without arts education in schools, period. The building the relationships with any arts organization in Sacramento, from the Crocker to, let's just say, Soul Collective, who is a collective art gallery off Del Paso, at Zane Silmy from the People of Sacramento. So these are people who are, you know, very connected and supportive of people and the arts. And I think it just simply starts by reaching out. So in that initial approach, I think it's just really important to introduce yourself, your purpose, you know, asking maybe how can you come by and support what they're doing? And maybe it's not funds, maybe it's just an hour on, you know, your weekend to volunteer for something that they support. But showing your goodwill and showing that, look, I've got my mission at my school. That's very clear. But even though I've got all this going on, how can I give value to what you're doing? Identify those handful of people in the community. You may not know them, but someone may recommend, and just check in with them, follow their story. You know, if they're sharing about stuff they're doing in the community, get their back, cheer them on. And I think that's the best place to start. But man, that network of people, the relationships, it is priceless.
Hi, David. This is Tori.
Hey, Tori.
First of all, thank you for an amazing performance. I always get chills seeing you, paint. My question is, our 5th pedagogical stance, there's 5: history matters, race matters, justice matters, and language matters. For futures matters, what is the future of art for K-12 students, especially with COVID-19, remote learning. We know all the inequities, but what is the future of these opportunities for kids to engage in art?
The future of arts education is helping direct students into the careers in the arts. Arts, media, and entertainment is one of the biggest job sectors in the state of California. Whether you're working on a film set or you're working virtually, designing or editing, sound design, I mean, the list goes on. And so it, even if whether it's educators or whether it's the students themselves that search for careers in arts, media, and entertainment, and just started exploring those lists. If in the actual, in education, if there can be more opportunities to present artists of different fields, not just painters, trust me, I'm limited compared to what a creative writer could actually introduce to someone in this day and age, where people like myself need content writers. There are, films that need storyboard writers and so on. And so, within each discipline, there's multiple fields of careers. And I think that the earlier you can introduce students to a career in the arts, they start to envision themselves doing this later on, rather than this is just something I did in school, which is okay. Creativity is a powerful leadership tool, but there's so much opportunity out there. Creator X is a nonprofit I co-started with my high school animation teacher, Sean Sullivan. And we want to multiply creators through education and inspiration. And so it's based on his award-winning style of teaching by using arts, media, entertainment as not only a form of teaching leadership, but mostly career paths. And so we do a summer camp every summer, and we had several pillars that we focused on. So everything from digital art, traditional, sound, dance, performance, and I believe there was another one. I can't remember. I think story was the other one. And we brought in professionals who are his former students that work for Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, and the list goes on. And the students also, this is completely free. And the students were from mostly areas that were underserved. So whether they had even an introduction to art, they definitely didn't have an introduction to careers in the arts. And we started off things with, kind of an opening keynote. I shared my story, and then we would break off into, different classes. And so not only are they learning from the professionals and the careers and actually hands-on experience during this 2 to 3 day event, they were also building relationships with other like-minded students. Most of us are wired a certain way, and then we add these experiences that open us up. My experience was Sullivan. I was wired to be creative, and in turn, what I've done, and I hope that other students do, is they also continue to multiply creators along the way, sharing that journey. You can actually learn more about that if you visit creatorx.org. There's some information. And we have a program right now for all teachers and educators in the Sacramento area specifically. But please reach out to us. You can also just email me, info@garibaldiarts.com, and I'll get you connected with our team. And we've got several different programs, even right now, virtually, to getting the information to the teachers, the students, and hopefully setting them on an arts career path.
I'm wondering about how you sort of see the relationship between social justice and art, because it's sort of a good moment to concentrate on that.
During this past summer, we saw our world saying more about how we feel and showing it. And through my art in general during that time, and I'll just give this as an example, I was able to reach more people by creating images that reflected how I feel and how I felt like most of us felt, as creators, not just art or artists. I think as creators, what stories can you tell that we need to feel? We saw that with Shepard Fairey, in 2008 with this iconic image of Obama. It was and then the words hope on it as well. What that piece of artwork did is it said what we couldn't say with words. It was how we felt, from the colors to the position of the portrait and so on. So I would just encourage all creators, use color, use sound, use, or even if it's creative words as your art form to convey feelings, or, or challenges, even questions as well.
I'm curious how this relates to what's happening in the classroom, if any students can comment on what you're learning in the transformative justice experience.
My name is Kiera. I'm one of the transformative justice studies students, and relating, I guess, art back to our studies, it's the idea that activism doesn't always have to have only one lens. There's different outlets that you can have in order to do, I guess, productive work and fight for liberation.
Yeah, that is a great point. And and actually I think that's better said than what I shared earlier about how art can be used, is that it is a form of activism, and it's a voice out there in the world. Thank you for sharing that.
What role does art play in the role of gentrification? Our class, from the 4 classes that we have in the transformative justice studies, we talked about ways in which our communities are changed, especially Oak Park.
Mhm.
And for those who are familiar with Oak Park and the Broadway Triangle, you definitely see artwork, and you can also see it behind some of the virtual backgrounds, which is part of the Guild Theater. What are the pros and cons of artwork when it comes to gentrification?
In Sacramento, there's a mural organization that does a mural festival, and they would partner with a business that would donate money to this. They would donate their wall and allow this artwork to be created on the wall. And this is kind of a crossroads right here in just dealing with the art itself. Is I'm not really particularly sure who makes the decision of what story will be told on that wall, and who does it represent, or does it represent where we're coming from or going to. And so the crossroads of, let's just say, an organization, or even the artist that wants to create in the community, and then the local business that it's going on, this wall between them, not to say that there needs to be a gatekeeper, but I do believe that there needs to be a panel of people who can collectively decide and say, what is a story that we want to tell in our community? Because art is so powerful. That image behind you is so powerful and strong, and it says so much without any words. And so it's something that you have to be really careful with. So again, I just want to thank everyone at Quarter, at Aggie Square, the team behind it. Again, I want to thank Angela Taylor, Professor Tori Wynn, Cynthia Carter-Ching, Sharon Knox, my good friend Stephen Morse, and also, of course, Chancellor Gary May. Thank you to everyone at Oak Ridge Elementary, the leadership from Aggie Square, and also the transformative justice students as well. I appreciate you all joining us for this live stream. Also, you can follow me at Garibaldi Arts on all social platforms.